all this up, build a sled for it. It's like back and forth. And you index it to each of the marks over on the other side. Make a cut, go to the next mark, keep doing over and over and over until it flattens the workpiece. And all the shavings and stuff is a tremendous amount of it. And all that goes into what they call a cyclone. I had to buy the cyclone part, this part here, but then I had to build it all up, mount it in a bucket, and rig up ways to hook hoses up where it would suck that stuff into the cyclone. And when all that stuff goes into the cyclone, it spins like crazy, and it drops all that particles, most of the particles anyway, drops them into the bottom of this bucket instead of going into the shop vac and running it. And that's the purpose of the cyclone, to keep from damaging your big shop vac.
Oh, okay.
And I found that when I first built it, that it was real tippy. It would fall over real easy. So I took another bucket and put several inches of dirt in the bottom of it to make it weighty, make it stable, and now it works just perfect. Oh, anyway, that's what you have to do to flatten a live edge slab.
And this was this started out at two inches.
Started out at 2 inches, and now it's about a little less than 1.5 inches thick now. But it has some real bad side. This is the bad side, and it had a lot of bad stuff, rotten looking wood, stuff like that, you know. And so anyway, I kept cutting until I got it down to that point, and I'd say we'll call that good, because that is the bottom side. It's not the real pretty side. The other side, this is pretty, but the other side is a little smooth. You know, it's a little smoother.
It smells so good. That smell of cedar.
Yeah.
Nice.
And anytime somebody's working on something like this, particularly cedar, you always need to wear a mask. You don't want to do any heavy breathing of cedar.
Yeah, I saw you in your
dust and stuff like that.
I saw you in your, what was that, an N95 or?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
That's a workhorse of that is one heck of a router. And it's got a blade on the bottom of it that's 2 inches wide, and it cuts it, flattens it.
I wonder if I can even get a picture of the blade. Probably not. Very good. It's beautiful. So y'all have 2 of these done? 1 of these done?
Yeah, this one. Now we'll have to use orbital sander on it. And once you run that orbital sander, it gets all the little tiny router lines that you'll see. You'll see those little bitty lines, and it'll buff all that out. Start out with 40 grit, go up to from that to 80, and then 100, and then 120, 220, up as high as 320. And some people might even want to go as high as 600 grit, but I don't think we'll do that on these.
And y'all just cut these slabs using the circular saw, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, yeah. Nice work. So it started out from so rough. Here's another piece over here that hadn't been started on, just power washed so far.
Yeah, we got another great big one there.
Yeah.
Funny how they look, just like a piece of almost rotten wood, and goes from that to that.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the smell is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's all working on it.
Yeah, and you can sand on this stuff like that. You can sand till, you know, so the cows come home, and it's not going to bring out that beauty.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of this cedar. You have to use the big router and go back and forth, back and forth.
Many passes getting
Many
it from
passes.
2 inches in.
And it brings out the beauty of that wood. As that thing makes a cut, the first cuts, it goes from being real ugly like that to being real pretty bright spots where it's making its cut.
Mm-hmm.
And you finally get it down to where you're all on the same plane. And once you get it down to that point,
What are these little registration marks?
It's to index this,
Just
the router sled.
Uh-huh.
Move it down here and set the cut depth. Set it on the router up here and set the cut depth. And then find where you're going to start. That mark right there, maybe you would start. And once you cut, you drag it. You come across like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take it back. And after you finish that one, then you move to the next mark. Bring it back.
Mama.
Slide it forward. Just keep doing that until you get all the way to past the end of the wood, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And on that cut. And then depending on the condition of the wood, you may be able to do just 3 or 4 cuts, but usually you have to go several cuts. Besides, maybe 3 or 4 might not do it. If it's a real neat side that's almost flat, then you might be able to do it in maybe 3 or 4 cuts. But you do that all the way down. Come back up here to the router. Reset the blade a little bit deeper, just a tiny bit at a time, and then start the process over again.
Nice.